Joining us now, fueled by very little sleep and lots of caffeine, our senior political editor, Steve Chaggaris, Lis Smith, who is the former deputy campaign manager for Martin O'Malley, and Hogan Gidley, the former communications director for Mike Huckabee's campaign. Good to see you all after just a few hours.
Great to be with you. Yeah, that's right. I slept in the corner.
Yeah, I saw a little sleeping bag rolled up there. All right, so Bernie Sanders is meeting with President Obama tomorrow. What are you guys hearing? What are we expecting out of that?
Well, we'll see. I mean, what's interesting, I thought, was when the White House announced that this meeting was happening, they made it clear to say that Sanders called the White House and requested the meeting. However, I would not be surprised to see President Obama, remind Bernie Sanders what happened in 2008 when Obama clinched the nomination and Hillary Clinton, on the night of the final primaries, said, well, we're going to work to unify the party and we're going to move forward. And then 4 days later, she dropped out of the race and eventually endorsed President Barack Obama at the time.
And you think during that moment, we were talking about this earlier, that it may have been discussed that she might be Secretary of State for her support back in 2008?
Well, I don't know.
Because it would be interesting to know if that's what Bernie wants to negotiate.
This is the thing, is we don't know what Bernie Sanders wants. He's been all over the place publicly, privately. We're hearing different things as well. And I think that's the big question, is what is his end game? What exactly does he want out of this? He will obviously have a conversation with the president. If he is the one that actually really did call the White House and say, I want to meet with the president, he's got something he's got to sell to the president. He's trying to get out of the White House and eventually high-ranking Democrats, Democratic National Committee, and at the convention. So it'll be interesting to see moving forward what exactly is it that he wants. Because based on what he said last night at his speech, which was a pretty defiant speech, it was really hard to figure out what he wants moving forward.
And look, I agree with Steve about what the nature of the meeting will be. And I think we saw today that Senator Sanders' strongest allies, whether it's Congressman Gravalha, Senator Merkley, Democracy for America, they're all saying, look, Hillary Clinton has won the majority of pledged delegates. It's time for him to get out. So the fat lady is saying, he might not hear it yet, but I think he's going to hear it soon.
But we do know one thing, Hogan. One thing he has made very clear he wants to do is take this momentum, what people did not believe he really had, and channel it into something else. But what's the game plan here? Is he really going to take this to the convention?
Look, I'm not sure. He says he is, and he might very well may do that. Look, I was in bed last night watching this speech, and as soon as he said, and I'm fighting on, my jaw hit the pillow. I turned off the TV and said, well, that was a horrible ending for a night that I think Hillary thought potentially he may get out. Look, he's got no loyalty to the Democratic Party. Let's be honest. He's an independent, right? He's not loyal to them. However, he has amassed enough support where he can claim some sort of victory for his cause, which he started out to do. The real question is, he's going to get out, okay? I think Hillary wants him out sooner rather than later, and probably the president does as well. The question is how he gets out. Does he go kicking and screaming? Because if he does, he's going to erode that support, come across looking selfish, petulant, childish. If he's more statesmanlike in it, I think it gives him a better chit in the game, as it were, when you get to convention to actually have some pull and some sway.
And you say he's not loyal to the Democrats, but he's loyal to these issues that he's been talking about for the last year plus, basically his whole career too, but really in this campaign. Income inequality and Wall Street reform and campaign finance reform. You heard it, he ran through the list in his speech last night, and I think that's what he's going to be fighting for. How can he make sure that those issues are really at the forefront of the discussion of the Democratic Party and a discussion of the general election, even though he might not be the person that's actually giving voice to those issues? And
the more gracefully he gets out, I think the more leverage he has. And I think the longer he stays in, the less leverage he has. So look, he's 74 years old, but he has a bright future in the Democratic Party. And we've seen his ability to raise gobs of money for progressive challengers down the ticket. And I think he can play a really important role in 2016, helping Hillary Clinton, but also helping elect very progressive Democrats to Congress, to Senate. And he can only do that if he exits gracefully.
And for Hillary, there's no upside in pushing him because she's got the nomination. According to that Political article we were talking about, if you just treat him with kids' gloves, he'll come along.
There's a couple things. First of all, we're still in a period where if you look at what she did in 2008, she took her time getting out. Yes, her speech on the night of the primaries was different than what Bernie Sanders did yesterday. But it took her 4 days to get out. He's still in that, decompressing period, and let's give him time to figure out what he wants to do and give him time to write the speech he wants to write and get out. Secondly, he got a lot of people to vote for him. Yes, it was 3 million people less than Hillary Clinton got, but there's still a significant number of people, independents, young voters, that came out and voted for Bernie Sanders in the primaries. She wants to harness those people. She wants to get those people to work for her in the general election. She's going to need as many votes as she can get if this race does become a tight race between Donald Trump. And she needs the enthusiasm.
I was about to say, what she needs is the excitement and the
of those
enthusiasm that
supporters.
does not surround her campaign. She's got the loyalists, she's got the votes, obviously to the tune of about 3 million more, as you mentioned. But the cachet, the excitement, the fervor isn't out there like it is for Bernie. She needs that.